What's good, everyone? This is Dr. Nii, and I am host of Docs Outside the Box. I'm joined by my lovely co-host,
Dr. Renee.
Nice and short and just straight to the
That's
point,
it.
right?
Yep. I'm gonna keep it
You're
short.
just straight about business.
I'm gonna be very professional
All
today.
right. Okay.
That's
All right,
what
cool.
I'm gonna be.
She's lying, but okay, cool. No problem.
Oh wow.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so very glad to be here.
You know what? I want to see how long you're going to let this ride for the show. Just let it keep going for the show.
I can do that.
Okay, cool. So everyone who's listening, thank you for tuning in. This is the last episode of 2021. This is coming out December 31st, 2021. And I just want to say thank you all for listening to the show. We've gone through a lot of peaks. We've gone through some valleys.
Certainly have.
Okay. Yo, she's really serious about this, right? So listen, before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this show, let me just do a quick rundown for you. We're going to go over some reviews from you, the listeners. We're going to talk about some updates on student loan forgiveness. Talk about how President Joe Biden and them Democrats, how they're half-stepping, right? And then we are going to talk about what's upcoming for Docs Outside the Box for the upcoming new year. We're going to also jump into the concept of sunken costs versus changing your mind. And then we're going to do something where we talk about what our theme for the upcoming year, what's that going to be? That's really important. For the last, 5 years, 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
No, actually 6 years. We've always had a theme for the upcoming year. That theme is going to be how we're going to live our lives, right? And then after that, we're going to jump into the sign out, which is going to be fun. And then we'll go from there.
It's a loaded show, Dr.
Renee, can you just stop, man? Come on now, man. Cut all that noise, yo. Are you ready? Are you ready to pod?
Wait. Have you ever seen the show She's the Boss?
No.
Yes, I've shown you. We've watched it.
Is that like a playoff of Who's the Boss?
Well, it's a show about Nicole Walters, who's like this motivational speaker.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
she's
got that housekeeper.
She's got a nanny, a Manny.
Manny.
She's got a Manny, and he is hilarious.
And he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's not.
Oh wow. Yes. If you've ever seen She's the Boss, like the first episode is hilarious.
I'm going to let you have that because that type of comedy just doesn't, I don't know, that type of comedy.
It's just reality TV.
Yeah, it's like Modern Family.
No.
It's like The Office. It's
No,
that
it's
type
not.
of dry comedy for me.
It's not.
Yeah, I don't like it. So.
Anyway.
But
Watch She's the Boss.
What's the name of She's the Boss? Is it a
first
web
episode.
Is it a web special? Or?
No, it's on
It's
I
TLC?
forget. No, I forget what it's on. Just look it up. Nicole Walters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to have to fix your microphone. Tilt your microphone just a little bit. Move it up closer. Like move it away from you and tilt it a little bit more towards you. It should be pointed. Come on, you forgot how to pod?
Here?
Yeah, push the whole base away from you and then tilt them. Yeah, there you go. Now you podding. Yeah. Now you podding.
Why is this part of the show?
Huh? Now you podding.
Okay.
So let's jump
Show
right.
your work, right?
Yeah, let's jump into reviews, and I don't know why I made this so small that I can't read. Oh my goodness, I wasn't even thinking that I'm gonna have to read this on the on the podcast, but
Sound like you getting old.
I got a review here.
Sound like you getting old.
Oh man,
You know you can zoom in, Grandpa.
well, I'm trying to zoom in, and I'm just jacking this all up. What did I do here? You see, you could save me and start stalling for me, but I guess you're not gonna do that.
I know. We're gonna watch you suffer.
Yeah, apparently. All right. So we've got a review, and this one is from Q Brill. I'm not sure who that is, but left that back in mid-December and says, funny and informative. This show is a must for medical professionals and Grey's Anatomy fans
What?
who would like a window into the real world of medicine and the doctors who practice. Exceptional and a pleasure to listen.
Aw, that's nice.
Q Brill, thank you. That's 5 stars. Also.
Awesome. Grey's Anatomy. So like you McSteamy, McDreamy, like
I don't know. I wonder if they knew that I was on Grey's Anatomy. Because I wonder if they know. Because the show has nothing. Like, we don't do anything clinically related, really.
No, but I mean, considering that we're doctors,
Yeah.
you know?
I thought maybe because the person knew that I was on CNN and back as a resident on Grady's
Yeah.
Anatomy. For
We've
y'all,
never really talked about that
we
on
need
the
to talk
show.
about that on an upcoming episode. So
Yeah.
listen, for y'all that don't know, I was actually on this documentary back in 2007.
7. Mhm.
Back in 2007 with Sanjay Gupta. So I did my residency in Atlanta. That's also the headquarters of CNN. That's where Sanjay Gupta is located. He is a neurosurgeon.
Mm-hmm.
He was working at Grady. And this was, I guess, at the peak or getting close to the peak for Grey's Anatomy.
Right.
So
Right.
kind of a play on words, Grady Hospital, Grady's Anatomy.
Mm-hmm.
And they were following 5.
4. I think it's 4 of you.
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah.
4 residents in various specialties. There was one in neurosurgery. I was the one in surgery. There was another one in neurology and then another in ER.
Mm-hmm.
And then they followed us. I will tell that story in another episode, but I'll just leave it to you like this. I ended up breaking duty hours on national TV.
And somebody's chairperson was not happy.
That wasn't my fault, though. That was not my fault, but it happened. Nothing happened, though, I don't think. So it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on a different episode.
That'll be for 2022, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But we do have a second review. This is from Dr. Sharon Grossman. She left her whole name, so we appreciate it. Dr. Sharon
Wow.
Grossman, thank you very much for leaving this. She left this back in October. It says, truly extraordinary. This show is all about the intersection between medicine and innovation. Learn from the best and be on the cutting edge of greatness by tuning in weekly. 5 stars.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Grossman.
Dr. Grossman, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Love and respect to everyone who takes the time to listen to the show. And then also at the same time, you know, they go and they write a review, whether it's on their iPhone or whatever app you're using. I know that, you know, those additional 30, 40, 60 seconds it takes is not natural to do this. And I think just in general, the process of leaving reviews is not as natural
Right.
for podcasts as it
Right.
is for
Social media posts.
social media posts
Right.
or even YouTube.
Yeah.
So everybody who does that, I really appreciate you. And if you guys, just like Dr. Sharon Grossman did, if you can leave your name or in some form or fashion, leave something that I can identify you by, I will send you something in the mail because each and every one of y'all, I just want to say thank you. And what this does is it offers social proof, right? So when someone is discovering Docs Outside the Box for the first time, they're like, I don't know what this show is about. I
Right.
know what the description says, but if they read what other people are saying, they're more likely to tune in. And
It's like the Yelp of podcasts.
if you want to say
Yeah,
if you want to say it like that, yeah. I thought you were gonna say it's like Finelli's.
Oh my God. Yeah. At some point we got to talk about Finelli's.
Yeah. But anyway, that's an inside story. But listen, if you guys get a moment, if you are listening to this podcast and you are not subscribed, we really need y'all to click that plus button if you're on a Apple Podcast app or if you use the subscribe button, whatever it is, make sure you use that button so that you can get up-to-date updates, literally, when we upload a show, as well as that lets the algorithm know. That lets all those people at Apple and Google and Overcast and Stitcher, all of them know that this show is growing in popularity, and it helps us to do the things that we want to do. So what you guys say about that?
Engage, engage, engage.
Caught you off guard with that, didn't I?
No, not really. I'm never caught off guard. I'm always prepared.
Yeah, that's what you... Okay, sure.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
carry 3 weapons on me at all times.
3 weapons?
Yes. I'm always prepared.
Where are you... are you okay? You
I've got a bunker.
Are you ready to
It's
pod?
got lots and lots of canned goods in it.
Okay. All right. Sure.
That's right. I've got heated underwear on
What is that?
just in case it gets really
what
cold.
does that got to do with anything? I'm just asking if you're ready to pod.
Yeah. I'm always prepared.
All right, so she on some stuff right now. I don't know what you on right now, but we're gonna move on. So listen, let's jump into the next topic, right? Let's jump into the topic of student loan quote unquote forgiveness. So we don't know what's gonna happen with student loan forgiveness, right? It affects the majority of medical students, residents, attendings who are out there, and this is a big deal. In my opinion, I think that Congress, I think that in general, I think the public doesn't really care about people who are like doctors,
No.
people who are lawyers.
No.
In terms of student loans, I
Yeah,
don't think
high income earners are not.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. So at least that's my opinion, right? So what ended up happening is there's another pause on student loan payments and interest, just so y'all know. So this has been extended to the end of May of 2022, which means from the beginning of the pandemic, or actually in the middle of the pandemic, when they decided to do forbearance on student loans and pause the interest payments, from that moment till the end of May 2022, that'll be 25 payment-free months since all of this began.
Deferment or forbearance?
Forbearance, actually. That's what they're calling it.
Really?
Yeah.
Because forbearance typically means that the interest keeps going.
Right. I may be wrong, but that's what, based off of what I'm going off of whitehouse.gov and all of these different, websites, it's forbearance, and they're pausing. If I'm wrong, and we'll obviously correct it in the show notes, or if someone is listening, let us know.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think that this is a great opportunity. Actually, if you are not struggling, this is a great opportunity, I think, to continue to make payments and to be able to make interest-free payments on your student loan debt. That's if you're not struggling. Right? You understand my drift, right?
Yep.
Like, those are for people who are not interested in PSLF, people who do not want to, they're not really worried about student loan forgiveness in 10 years. They want to pay off their debt a lot quicker.
Right.
So I think that if you're struggling, though, I think that this extension can be another way to catch up on a whole bunch of different things. So, we always say the quick, easy things, the low-hanging fruit is always have an emergency fund. And whatever stage that you are at, medical student, resident, or an attending, that you want to have at least 3 to 6 months of expenses.
This will give you a nice 5 months at least.
You know what I'm saying? Because right now there's a bunch of people who they completely took this out of their budget, or just took it out of their mental budget of, I have to pay my student loans, which is fine, right? Because if you're struggling and you're trying to pay rent, or you just had a hard time maybe with a car payment or with a credit card payment or whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're going to pause on student loans, probably the best opportunity for them to kind of just feel like they're not sinking underwater. So for me, I think this is a great opportunity for people to catch up on their emergency funds. I think this is another opportunity if you are behind on rent. Hopefully you're not, but we actually know that this is a nationwide issue. If you're behind on rent, especially if you live in a high cost of living area. Right? We're talking about the New Yorks, the New Jerseys, the Denvers, the Los Angeles. If you live there, you know what I'm talking about right now. Or if you have debt.
Right. That's, consumer debt.
Right? The consumer debt, particularly if the interest rate is way higher than what your student loan debt is. So if you have a car, if you have a credit card debt, or if you have credit card debt, not a credit card debt. If you have credit card debt or any other type of consumer debt that is just getting at you, I would prioritize at this moment paying off those things.
Or at least paying them down.
Paying them down as quickly as possible. But I think the most important thing for me, is just having the emergency fund.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, too, is if you're struggling, and this can very well apply to residents.
Absolutely.
Right. If you're struggling, don't forget that there is the income-driven repayment plan. So based off of your income, they will make a calculation, and that'll determine what your payment plan will be. Right. So I think that's another thing to consider during this time when interest is being paused is, okay, let's refocus and think about what's really important. Yes, you want to get student loans paid off, but if you are struggling, let's put yourself back in the mindset where, or at least back in a state of, one, can you save up enough money so that when the payments start back up again, you'll be ready to go. Right, over these 25 months, or if you're just hearing about this now, over these next 4 to 5 months, can you do that? So for me, I think that the residents should really be making sure that they are either mentally budgeting this back in or saving up so that when the interest payments start back up in July or June, that they can really get back into their budgets of making sure that that $1,000 payment or that $2,000 payment, whatever it may be, they're back on track. The other thing, too, also is just the concept now of, I would do refinancing, actually, at this moment. I would refinance all of your federal loans if you have them held by different people. this is the moment now, I think, to refinance your loan so that you can just have one large lump, loan. It looks like a large lump thing, but your interest rate comes down. And there's various companies that'll do that for you, but I think that's really important to do that also.
Now, when you refinance, right, does it count as a student loan anymore, right, depending on who you refinance with? Because that's always the question of, well, if I refinance my loan, depending on with whom I refinance, will it count as a student loan anymore?
Right. You're right. So it's gotten a lot clearer from the way how I understand it, as well as, so basically what's happening is your federal loans are basically being held by a private entity now.
Right.
But they're treating it like a student loan.
Okay.
Right. So SoFi, the First Republics, all of the Splash, all of these different companies out there, they're treating it like student loans, but these are all private entities. But yes, I see what you're saying. Like, well, because it's private, are they now considering it like a private loan, or is it still a student loan? Yeah. Hence, does it still get the student loan?
Exactly. Like, will it fall into?
Do you pause? Like, if there's a federal pause on interest, does that mean that there's a federal pause on your privately held federal student loans? Right. I believe the answer is yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody just make sure that answer is yes before you do it.
Right. And there's plenty of resources. I'll put the resources in the show notes of where you can get this. So I think for the residents out there, the most important thing is make sure you get an emergency fund. Make sure that you start thinking about, because these payments are going to start clicking back up. It sounds like President wasn't too keen on extending this past May. And you already know the gridlock that occurs, Like for me, like let's jump into it. So for example, like they just signed like this crazy $1 billion, or I think it was maybe $1 trillion military spending bill. And it was just like all of this money for something that the military didn't even ask for. But like when you ask for something as small as student loan debt forgiveness, or just anyway, that just drives me nuts. Like they got money for this, but they ain't got money for that.
Well, it depends on what else is making money. Does student loan repayment make money in comparison to the military? That's the question, right? So when the spreadsheets fall out, where is most of the money made?
War. Good God, y'all. What it is good for.
You all. It's y'all.
My favorite movie, Rush Hour. Shout out to Jackie Chan. Shout out to Chris Tucker. That was a great movie.
You all. Y'all.
Was I a resident when it came out? Were we residents when it came out?
I don't know, but I have watched each one of those movies like a million times.
Because like 3? You saw part 3?
Yes, because it comes on TV all the time. Every time I'm on a locums assignment, I'm like, why not? I got a thyroid problem. Well, stop eating thyroid.
Yeah, they should do. No, they actually should not do it anymore. They should not do it anymore.
Yeah, they should leave that alone.
They should leave that alone, which is probably going to be, that's one thing that's a really good segue into the sign out. Because I'm talking about Matrix Part 4.
Oh, God.
But let's move on. So listen, guys, let's jump back into this topic. So once, like I said earlier, this really benefits people who are like the pause on interest payments. If you're not down with PSLF, if you're not down with paying off your loans on the long term, if you're not looking for any student loan forgiveness, then yeah, I would say continue to pay. I wouldn't hold off, actually. Continue to pay if you're not struggling. Continue to pay off. You're making all of these payments. There's no interest that's accruing on your payments.
Everything towards the principal.
I say go after it, right? But just make sure when you're calling your loan servicer, you're letting them know that you're sending in payments and that this should go to principal only. Now, if you've gotten used to not making payments, so these are the residents, these are even other professionals who may be listening to the show, I just say make sure you start saving money because it's going to start. Use budgeting apps. You can use YNAB. You can use Dave Ramsey's system. You can use an envelope system. But over the next 3 to 4 months, what you should start doing is actually start simulating what it would be like to start incorporating these payments back into your monthly spending so that when June comes, like I said before, you're ready to go. Okay. Yeah. And then the ultimate question is should we wait on student loan forgiveness? Is it coming? What's your thoughts?
Man, student loan, listen,
coming.
y'all.
It's not coming.
Listen, you all, Okay. Student loan forgiveness is not coming. And if by chance it should come, I have a very suspicious feeling that it is going to be capped for certain salaries, certain income.
It'll be based off of income. It'll be based off of certain incomes.
Right? It'll be based off certain incomes and certain other criteria, okay? So, for example, it's not going to be, oh, well, we're going to cap it at $70,000, right? And then residents are like, well, that's it. We're done. No, because you're going to become attendings and then you're not going to have that salary. So I have a feeling that they are going to, cap it at a certain salary if this should happen and make it such that the criteria includes that you are not in training, because what would happen is that all doctors essentially would then have their student loan repayments,
Oh, I'm reapplying to med school if they do. KCU, let me back in, yo. Right? Like, yo.
So, yeah. But I don't think that it's coming. I think, people who are pushing for it, especially the doctors, I'm sorry, y'all, but it's a pipe dream. You know what I mean? And if I'm wrong, let me tell you, this is something I would absolutely love to be wrong about. I would love to be wrong about this, but I don't think that I am. And I just think it's a pipe dream. So keep paying, because I don't think that free ride is going to be coming.
So let's jump into what to expect from docs outside the box for 2022. Big things. I'm
Really?
excited. Really big things. What do you mean, really? There's some big things coming. First thing is we going to be changing the website.
What?
Yeah, we're going to be changing the website. It's going to be a completely new storefront, basically, for us, or image for us. And, we've gone through multiple iterations. You remember the bricks?
Oh, yeah.
With the first website.
Yep.
And then we redid it, and then we redid it again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay now. It's all right now. Shout out to Wade. It's okay now. But I think it's time to take things to another level.
Okay.
I think it's time to
big things.
I think it's time to make the website a little bit easier for people who want to discover us, or even people who just want to engage.
Right. I think that's the key.
Right. And I know that the best way that people engage with us right now is either on Instagram or by email. But I really would love for people to be able to for us to have forums on the on the website, or even people to, if we can live stream on the website also. That's what I would like also. So there's a lot of things that I want you guys to be really excited about. And we're excited about, number one, being the website. The website is going to change. We want more engagement. We just want a better visual perspective, a visual window for us. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah. There's been some, there's been some really good, successful podcasts out there, and I've been looking at their websites, and there's one person who's been working on them, and we decided to work with her.
Yeah.
And we're just going to go for a very custom look on our site. I'm not sure when it's going to come out. Probably come out maybe February or March, but stay tuned.
That long?
I think so, right?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You think it'll be? Well, it depends. Well, listen.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. When it comes out, y'all, of course, everybody will know about that. Obviously with this, I don't know if you guys are paying attention. If you're following on YouTube, you probably can definitely already tell by the quality of the video. We've upped the quality. We don't use an iPhone 10 anymore. Now we're using this Sony ZV-E10.
We big time, y'all.
Yeah. It was the last purchase that I was trying to get every tax deduction that we could. And I was like, look, we need to update the camera. So we got one. That's how it is.
That's right. So if all of you who are out there having your own, businesses and things like that, it is December 31st. Make your purchases now.
And if you want to learn about podcasting and you want to learn how to be the next top podcaster, check out Docs Who Podcast. Check out, once again, Docs Who Podcast, where I take you through.
.com.
.com. Yeah, they get it. Come on. DocsWhoPodcast.com. Come on, y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? If you want to go through a 10-step process of learning basically how to have a concept in your brain of what you want to podcast about, to all the nooks and crannies about podcasting, and literally by the end of this course, have a name, know how to use the equipment, how to record your first several episodes, how to even edit your own episodes, how to even get cover art. I even give you templates. This is the course for you. So I want you to check out Docs Who Podcast. It's December 31st. Use your CME money for this. I don't care. Use your tax money for
You
this.
will not get CME for this.
All right?
Okay.
I don't care. But this is something that y'all need to purchase. This is a dope program. If you go to the website, you'll see the landing page, and you can see some of the people who've been using this course.
Yeah.
So some prominent podcasters out there.
Absolutely.
Pretty
It's a great course.
Of course, it's a great course. I put it together, and you helped me.
That's why it's great. It's because I helped you. Why else would I say that it was great?
Oh man! So brother wants some big things. Brother's got to start reading. So I'm gonna start reading.
Okay, what you reading?
So I'm not gonna front. The majority of things that I read are related to surgery, trauma surgery, just related to medical, whatever it is.
Oh, you're so intriguing.
Yeah, I'm boring. It's the truth. Freaking boring, right? I know you don't read either, so don't even try to.
I don't know how to read.
Right?
You had to bring that up.
You know, don't even try to front. But for real, like I want to start seeing different perspectives, and I think reading, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, hopefully more nonfiction, right, is the way to go. So, several episodes ago, I was telling people that I'm reading this book called Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. I'm almost done with that book, but I just finished reading Will Smith's book called Will. And I actually I didn't even read it. I listened to it. So I did an audio book of it, which I don't care what anybody says, that's just as good as reading it. And because I go on these really long locums trips, I figured I might as well, like 4-hour trips. Yeah. I might as well just listen to the listen to the book while I'm driving.
Like listening to a podcast.
It's like listening to a podcast. Mm-hmm. And it's great. Like Will Smith did a great job. But just in general, high level, what I'd like to start doing is, just reviewing more books on episodes. It'll just be me, or sometimes Renee can jump on there. But it's basically who's this book for, who will benefit from it, why I think you guys should be listening to this book or reading this book. And it's going to be part of just my evolution of just not just talking about VTI and personal finance and mindset. And like, we got to start living, right? Like we got to start living like what we want. And I think sometimes you got to get a different perspective.
Okay.
And I think that we've been very on our own island, very insular. And I think it's important to just see what other people are thinking out there and see how it could benefit us. So I say Will Smith's book, Will, is a book for people pleasers.
For people pleasers?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a book for people pleasers. The book was definitely not what I was expecting. I was expecting to get a lot of gossip about the relationship between Will and Jada, and you don't get that. But you really, it's a window into why Will is who he is, and through all the fame, through all the money, through all the success, through all the wealth, through all the quote unquote bravado and machismo, dude is just a people pleaser. And he's a self-admitted people pleaser.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Very, very, very interesting.
Now, did he do anything like, whoa, cha-ching?
So he talked about that phase, right? So he called that phase, like, that's the peak of his, like, people-pleasing state.
Really?
Right? So what he realized was, he just grew up in a very abusive home. Mm-hmm. And he felt like the way in which, see, now you're going to get me into this book review. I'm trying to save this for 2022, but long story short.
You don't have to say it now.
Long story short, people react to abuse in so many different ways.
Right.
Like, I didn't grow up in that type of situation, so I can't judge him. Neither can you, I'm assuming. But he decided to not stand up, but he decided to allay, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Like, he wanted to keep his father cool so that his father wouldn't abuse him or his mother. So it was his job to make his family laugh.
Yeah.
And then that kind of that continued on in high school, and then obviously as to who he is right now. And he's become very successful,
Right.
but he feels like it's a facade. It's really, really
Well,
interesting.
yeah. I mean, I would think it would be a facade if the reason that you're making people laugh is to stop them from being angry.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not a genuine, it's not a genuine desire to just engage and have a good time, which that's really what laughter should be about. But yeah, that's pretty sad.
Yeah, I'm more enamored with celebrities than you are, right? And I think that's just part of the magic of TV, the magic of film, me watching a lot of TV when I grew up. And there's this sense of, like, it's like you feel like that person is charmed, so to speak, right? Like they're special. And if they weren't special, then they wouldn't be on TV.
Yeah, see, yeah, I don't actually see that.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, well, if they have to be special because they're on TV. So as a result, you feel like they're living this life of like everything works for them and everything is perfect. And then when you when I'm listening to this book and he's talking about all of these different things, you're like, damn, bruh's just like me. Or, he's just like, he literally is what happened. What if I just all of a sudden just got famous all of a sudden? Like, what would you do? Right? He's just a regular dude who just got famous. Now, obviously, he's talented. He's smart. He can rap. He can do a lot of different things. He could rap back in the this is late 80s rap, right?
Okay, fine.
Right? Like, there's been, come on, give dude a break, right? Like, we're not asking him to be J. Cole. We're not asking him to be, right? But for
I didn't say anything.
In comparison to his contemporaries, he was keeping up.
Yes, I didn't say anything.
You think he speaks too well to be a good rapper?
He speaks so well.
Right?
He speaks so well.
But anyway, listen, so the rest of that review is going to be coming out next year. But yeah, I'd like to start reviewing more books. So that Austin Kleon book, that's going to be coming pretty soon. Obviously, I'm going to be doing a full review on Will. And there's a whole bunch of other books that I'm going to be reviewing. The next one after that will be Atomic Habits. Because I'm really big into this upcoming year changing a lot of different things, particularly my habits and my habits specifically about working out and my habits with work, particularly creative work. Like, it's very easy for me to do clinical work, but when you have to do creative work and you have to set up a schedule, that's way different. Right?
Yeah, that's
so
very different.
How do you set up the habit of making sure that you show up and you're ready to go on a daily basis? Particularly when there's, like, it's not like you're punching in. Right?
So yeah, and you're your own accountability partner.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I'm really excited about. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. That's going to be a new aspect of the show. Another thing that we are going to incorporate is almost like we're going to take a very creative look into how me and Renee met. Right?
What?
Yeah, we're going to do a creative way on how we met and how we started off as study partners and then kind of,
you always say we weren't study partners. You always say that.
Okay. All right. So maybe that was an exaggeration. So
okay.
How about we start off as classmates?
Okay.
As classmates. Is that better?
We were study partners. Your face. In the face.
Y'all, it's just gonna be me. Let's just go back to just Nii just hosting the show by himself. We got this, yo. Yo, Alfred, Christian, yo, cut that left mic out. Whatever. I don't even know what side it is. Whatever mic she's on, just cut it off, yo, because she acting a fool today. But listen, y'all, we are going to incorporate a very creative way of talking about how we met, how we fell in love, how we started off our marriage, and how money was involved in every single thing. And low key, a quick, preview. We actually talked about money without really talking about, or at least without knowing that we were talking about money the first couple of times that we talked. And we didn't even meet each other. Yeah. We were just talking on the phone.
On the phone, yeah.
Right. The other thing that we never talked about is when we consolidated our loans with graduate leverage.
Yes. Ooh, we need to tell that story.
You know why I want to bring that up.
I know. I'm like,
Somebody ended up in jail. Somebody ended up in prison.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's not jail, it's prison. Yeah, we need to. Yeah.
But my student loans were right though. My interest rate went down to 2%.
Whatever. Somebody had to go to jail for that. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll get into that later on. So 2022, be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
And then we're also going to be talking more about lifestyle, because I think that's what this show really is. This show, people always want to put you in a cubby hole, like, right? Or people want to just put you in a certain type of, like, you are this type of podcast or you're that type of podcast. And the number one thing that people want to say is, oh, we are a personal finance podcast. Like, we're not a personal finance podcast.
No.
We talk about personal finance.
We do.
But it's not in the sense of cutting coupons. We don't talk about VTI all the time, y'all. All right? And someone's going to be like, yo, why'd you get that camera? You should have got VTI. Yo, shut up. All right? I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about in this show is how can you have the lifestyle that you want? How can you do the things, the mission, right? Like, how can you have how can you live your dreams while being, or being a physician or being a professional, whatever it may be? How do you do that? How do you activate that? And the way how you do that is by maximizing your money, right?
Yep.
As well as by, understanding and unlocking things about your mindset.
Lifestyle spirit, activate. Lifestyle spirit, activate.
It's my cheerleader over here. Keep going.
Activate.
Hey, you falling out of the screen, man. Come on now.
How am I falling out of the screen?
Act like you pod before.
I can't see the screen with this big lens in the middle. But anyway.
That's the Sony ZV-E10.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Alfred, represent us right. Everybody's like, who's Alfred? Who's Christian? Everybody, Alfred is our video editor,
Yeah.
and Christian is our audio editor, and they are amazing, and they've helped us take things to the next level. So we appreciate y'all, and Happy New Year to y'all.
Yep.
So those are some of the things that are going to be upcoming for Docs Outside the Box. We're going to just be more creative, and I think that that's what it takes to really keep up with you all, is to continue to talk about lifestyle and talk about money and talk about mission and talk about mindset in a way that we best know how to do it. Right. And we actually talk about these things on a daily basis because it affects us. And I'm sure it affects you all on a daily basis also. It's just that for us, we want to share how we do it, how we keep it funky, how we have fun about it, and even talk about the peaks as well as, the not so fun times, and let you know how we got through this and how we got past that.
So do we have an overall name for the theme of next year?
We're not there yet. Come on. We're not there yet, all right? Like, you the cheerleader. We're not there yet, all right? So let's get into sunken costs, right? The concept of sunken costs. And part of this has to do with reading.
Okay.
Right? And reading and expanding your mind and seeing the thoughts that other people bring in. So, I was listening to Seth Godin. He's a very popular business person, very popular creative out there, and he was on Lewis Howes' show, and he was talking about how, like, we get our mind really fixed on doing one thing, and even though it doesn't make sense to do that one thing anymore, we'll do it because we're worried about the sunken costs instead of moving one way. So here's an example that he uses, and some of y'all may relate to this, right? If you bought movie tickets for a movie with your wife or with your spouse, whoever it may be, and then a friend comes up to you at the last moment. Let's say you live in New York or you live in D.C., comes up to you at the last moment and says, hey, I know you're going to the movies, but I got like 2 additional tickets to go to Hamilton. Bada bing, bada boom. Yo, what we doing? We going? Right?
Right.
Most people will be like, well, I bought these tickets to go see Matrix 4.
No, you didn't.
To go see the Amazing Spider-Man.
No, you didn't.
I'm talking about the one with Andrew Garfield, y'all. Right?
Don't get me started.
She's not a fan, y'all. She was not a fan.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day.
But a lot of people would say, hey, I already bought these tickets. Maybe another time. When, like, it's extremely hard to go see Hamilton. But because of the concept of sunken costs, you'll continue to go down that road to Abilene, right? Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like, even if like in law school, or if you want to go to law school, right? Like your 17-year-old self or your 18-year-old self, or even in medical school, your 19-year-old self is saying, yes, I want to go to medical school, but your 30-year-old self is saying, I don't want to practice this anymore. Or maybe I don't want to practice in a different way. Or maybe I don't want to be a lawyer in this fashion anymore, but we continue to go down a certain path and not change, mainly because we felt like we put all this money in. We've told all of our family members about this. We got an entire support system that's backing us. We can't let them down.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think I could have fallen into this category for sure, right? Because I always knew I wanted to be a doctor from the time I was young. When I was about 10 years old, I decided I wanted to be a pediatrician. And so you can imagine, right? A 10-year-old who, they ask, well, what do you want to be? And I say, I want to be a pediatrician. And I said that over and over and over again. I got into medical school and I said, I want to be a pediatrician. Now, you did my pediatrics rotation with me. And what did I tell you?
Yo, it sucks. Yo.
I hated it. I hated my pediatric rotation. I know what was wrong with these
Shout
kids.
out to all the pediatricians out there and all the pediatric residents out there. But pediatrics sucks, yo. Yo, F that, yo.
I was like, I hate this.
You want to see the real Nii, yo? Oh, my goodness, yo. Migs per kigs for everything. It's like you go to the cafeteria, like the dispenser, milliliters per kg. It's like, yo, come on. Damn.
Just give me a cup of juice. So, but yeah, no, I definitely could have fallen into that category because when I got to the point where I was like, I don't like this. I like these kids, but I don't like this medicine. I just really did not enjoy the medicine of pediatrics. I was kind of stuck because I was like, I don't know what else I'm going to do.
But you're figuring this out. How many times? You are figuring this out at the end of your third year.
Correct.
When you're already supposed to be putting in applications.
Yes.
So you have to give it context.
Pediatrics was in the middle of our third year.
Right. But you still didn't make a complete decision.
But I still hadn't made a decision as to what I wanted to do, right? Until the end of the third year. Now, the other part of this was that I had always said I would never do OBGYN. Remember? I was like, I don't want to be looking at that all day. You crazy? I would never be an OBGYN. So now I was stuck with the thing that I said I always wanted to do, and then finally did the rotation, the last rotation of my third year, with the thing that I said I would never want to do, and then all of a sudden started loving the thing that I never wanted to do. And that's where the problem started. Yeah. And so, I had to go through that process. If you remember, I ended up doing both AIs in P's as well as OB to really convince myself that I really did not want to do P's. And so, that's how I ended up being an OB. But I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, the whole sunken cost. I've always said I wanted to do it. Therefore, I have to stick to that initial commitment.
And this idea actually came to my mind today. I was speaking to a colleague of mine who actually was one of my attendings in training, and he's considering switching things up because there's some bigger things that he wants to do outside of medicine. And the type of training that we have allows you to do 3 different things. You can do trauma, you can do critical care, and you can do general surgery. Mm-hmm. And it almost felt like he was asking me for permission for him to just go into critical care. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dog, like, that's part of the reason why we all did this training is that we're a triple threat. We can do multiple things. And I'm not sure which direction he's going to go, but I wish him all the luck because I think he's a really good guy, and I think hopefully he makes the right decision. But I think it made me start thinking about these things. It's like part of it too is the identity of being a surgeon.
Right.
It's a really big deal.
Right.
And you could even deconstruct it even more below that and say, okay, like even if you're not a surgeon and you are a pediatrics resident or you are a family medicine resident or you're internal medicine, whatever you may be, how about if I took away the fact that you're a doctor?
Right.
Right. Either way, whether you can't identify as someone being a surgeon, well, other people can't identify if you being a doctor. So if you were to take that away, it looks like the same thing to me. So it's just very interesting. So those are things that I really would like to deconstruct in this year, also upcoming years, to talk about the whole concept of sunken costs and just the concept of just changing your mind. Right. Like, yeah, like this was a great idea when I was 19, but there's a different idea that I have right now.
Things have changed.
I started off as an employed doc, and now I have a different way in which I want to practice, or whatever it is, you know, like
I was in academic medicine and now I don't want to be, or, you know, whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can change your mind. It's okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let's pivot one quick time because we're getting towards the end of the show. So, you know, officially it's been over 9+ years, close to 10 years that we've been out. For you, definitely.
Oh, 10, you mean out of residency?
Out of residency.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years for you.
It's been 11 years for me.
Okay. For me, we're getting close to that. And we've really been about 4 years plus now deep into our savings. Right. So what I mean by that is, so we've been out for about 10 years average between me and you. Mm-hmm. The beginning of that time, guys, we were heavily paying off debt and then also investing. So I'd say realistically, we were probably like 85% paying off debt, and then the rest of the 15%, that's 15%, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The rest of 15%.
Let me pull out my calculator.
Yo, that's why I went into medicine, right? The rest of the 15%.
That's why you ain't going to pediatrics.
Right. Yo, let me tell you something right now, real quick. Yeah, let me just
do not go back into the mix for KIG. We know you don't like it.
I know people talk about surgery residency like it's like, you know, no church in the wild, right? But like for real, like pediatric residents, they know, like they smell blood and they go after you for no reason. It's just like, chill. Like, why don't y'all chill? Like, why? Like, come on, yo. Like, for real. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? They're mean for no reason.
No.
Yes, they are. Yo, if I get pediatric hate, I don't care. You can come for me. I don't care. I'm a surgeon. I could deal with this. Trust me, I could deal with this. But I'm just saying, like, pediatric residents, y'all need to fall back a little bit.
You know what, surgeon? Surgeon, cut it out. Okay, come on, let's go.
Some Dave Coulier there. Well, anyway, listen, guys. So for the first several years of us being together, we were focusing on paying off debt, and now over the last 4 years, we've been really focused on turning everything into investing, saving money. So we try to save or at least invest close to 60% of our income every month. Mm-hmm. We sometimes have failed a little bit with that, but it's usually, if we fail, it's like, okay, we're down to like 40%. Mm-hmm. And it's because something major is going on, but we always try to be 60% and higher. I admit that looking back, I've been in a saving just to save mode or investing just to invest mode.
Don't get me started.
And I'm at a point now where I'm like, all right, look, in order for us to get to the number that we want to get to, that's a lot of working your ass off.
You've fallen out of the frame.
To get to that point. Look at that, man. I got to make sure I stay in the frame, man. My bad, Alfred, right? Like spending a whole bunch of active years working your ass off, and then like I think I'm at a point now where I'm like, and that leads me to the whole theme. Like, I just want to start living. And I'm not saying like no, for real, living. Like, I have kids, you know, I'm married to a beautiful woman. Like, I love my life. But I do think that over the last 4 years, I have been playing it safe.
You?
And I want to, what do you call it? And I want to start living. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of a plane.
Okay. No, you're not. Anyway. Jamie Fleischner, set for life insurance.
You're laughing. I'm not laughing.
Yeah, you are laughing. Because you ain't jumping out of no plane. I tell you that. You ain't jumping out of no plane.
I bought ticket. I can show it to you on my phone right now.
No, you ain't jumping. Well, you know what? Sunken costs. Because you ain't jumping out of no plane.
shit, I ain't jumping out no motherfucking
Exactly.
fuck.
Thank you.
We don't curse much on Docs Outside the Box, but the last thing you will ever see my ass do is jump out of a motherfucking good plane and shit. Hell no. So
I know my husband.
But listen, I do want to start living. And I do think that saving just to save, or even just investing just to invest because that's the right thing to do, sacrificing certain things that you may want to do in life, I think is not fun also. So this doesn't mean that I'm going to start buying Jordans, or this doesn't mean that I'm going to buy a Tesla like tomorrow. It doesn't mean that in order for me to start living, I have to start spending.
You might buy that Tesla.
Yeah, I might buy the Tesla. No, for real, not even the Tesla, right? Because
Right.
this is beyond a purchasing thing. This is something that consumerism is not going to
Right.
fix. But what I'm talking about is basically playing it safe, right? Part of living is taking risks, some calculated risks. Maybe not, everything doesn't have to be calculated, but taking some risks and doing some things so that at the end you could be like, word is born. Like I did that. That was fun. I may have failed initially, or I may have failed, but yo, I did it. I tried it. It was fun. You know, my wife, I had to sleep on the couch for a little bit, but yo, it was dope. You know what I'm saying? So like, these are the things that I would like to start doing more. And that's my theme, is to start living. I don't know if you got a theme, but I think that's what
I
we
thought
want
we
to do.
always had a theme together.
Hey, what you want to do? Sis, what you want to do?
You start living?
What you want to do?
You gonna start living?
Yeah.
I guess I'll start living too.
Is that what you want to do? What's your theme?
Start living. Did you not just hear me?
Yeah. But for real, like it sounds very simple, like, but no, for real, like we're talking about taking chances with the podcast, taking chances with how and where we live, taking chances with what we're doing in general. Like these are all things that we want to start doing. And the best way I can describe it is living. So
Yeah.
that's it. That's our theme for 2022. Boom. There it is. There it is. So listen, let's do a quick shout out to our sponsors, right? So I want to thank all the sponsors that have come and gone, or that have continued to have a relationship with us over 2021. Each and every one of you all, we partner with you all because we think that the products, the services that you offer are dope, and that our audience would definitely benefit from it. So I want the audience to really know that we really vet every sponsor that has sponsored the show, because we really don't want to just go for the cash grab. We've had plenty of opportunities to go for the cash grab, and what we really want to make sure is whoever is sponsoring the show is reflective of the vision of the show, which is empowering you all, giving you all the ability to have the mission, the mindset, as well as the money that you'll need to have the life that you want to live.
Right.
So I just want to say shout out to all the sponsors. Y'all know who you are. If you don't know, go to the website. You will know who they are. And we've gotten some new sponsors, right? But once again, it's the same thing. We're vetting them and making sure that this is something that you all are going to benefit from.
Right.
So shout out to y'all. So it's time for the sign out.
So what you signing out?
Let's sign out. So listen, everyone, if you haven't heard, the sign out is where we talk about the most pertinent, positive things that we want you to get before we get off of this show, the things that we want you to do that are going, or that we want you to take action in. So for me, let's start off with Insecure. Damn! Yo!
I slept like a baby.
Why is that? Why did you sleep like a baby?
Oh,
Keep it
good
quick.
night.
And keep it quick.
Good night. Listen, spoiler alert. If you do not want to know,
our favorite show, Insecure.
if you
was
do
dope.
not want to know the ending of Insecure, if you haven't seen it yet, first of all, you a buster. But secondly, you better turn off this podcast right now, because I'm about to spoil it. Okay? So here it goes. Good night, Issa and Lawrence, who went to bed together, happily ever after. I slept like a baby.
So, Insecure on HBO, put out by Issa Rae, had the series finale this past Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was dope.
Yep.
It was great.
Day after Christmas.
Almost like a modern day. I'd have to say Issa Rae, kind of like a modern day post Different World, so to speak.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, we've never had a show
Right.
like this where
Yeah.
we've seen like 30-somethings or late 20-somethings kind of interact and have fun.
Right.
And for me, I loved it.
Yeah.
As a guy, even though this show is centering around girls and, this story, this love story between Issa and her best friend, as well as, the trials and tribulations of their relationships. I think it's been an amazing show. So for y'all who don't know, this show is headlined by Issa Rae. She really came to promise. She really technically is a YouTube star.
Yes.
She's a YouTube star, and she had this show called, was it?
Awkward Black Girl.
Yeah. Was it The Adventures of Awkward Black Girl?
Yeah, Adventures of an Awkward Black Girl.
And it was really hyped during 2010, 2011. And then somehow she got discovered, and then HBO decided to work with her, and they created this show. Initially, they thought it was going to be, basically an HBO version of The Adventures of Awkward Black Girl, but it turned into something
Insecure,
different, which is called Insecure, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was great.
They did such a great job. I think just, unfolding over the last 5 seasons anyway. Just kind of, like you said, like the relationships that people have, how they grow apart, how they come back together, how sometimes they don't come back together, and it was just, I don't know. For me, I thought it was pretty well done given the parameters that they had, especially for this last season.
Why don't you tell the truth? Low key, you was mad if she was going to end up with Nathan? Tell the
listen,
truth, yo.
Listen.
I can tell you was like, yo.
If she had ended up with Nathan,
you didn't want to give that light-skinned brother any love. Like, nah,
it had nothing to do with that.
She can't end up with this dude.
He was not good for her. And frankly, Nathan, it's funny because when they did kind of the behind the scenes show called The End, the actor who plays Nate, I forget his name, Nathan. He talked about like the many different types of characters that she introduced to the show. And one of the things that he said was, toxic men. And I think he was referring to his own character, of Nathan, but I don't think that Nathan was toxic. I actually don't. I think Nathan was struggling, and he was struggling, with his own mental health, and he just was not in a place to be in a relationship that didn't necessarily like kind of foster. I don't know.
Well, they took it to places that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Dating someone with mental health and just kind of what the highs and lows of that, or, it was just so many different things that are very real that you oftentimes don't get a chance to see on TV.
Right.
And as imperfect as it may be, the show perfectly just encapsulated all of this.
Right.
And it was really, really a fun time for 5 seasons. It was really fun.
Yeah, they did a good job.
They did a really good job. So I definitely recommend for the sign up that you guys go and check out Insecure. If you have not seen the show, you can catch it on HBO Max.
Well, if you haven't seen the show, you heard the spoiler alert. So
it's great. I love it. Now let's jump into what I'm listening to. So this year, I really started to, or even last year into this year, I started listening more to R&B.
What?
Yeah, I started listening more to R&B. I was big into R&B when I was in high school and college, and then, R&B kind of just waxed and waned, and, anyway. So for me, for the entire year, I have to say my R&B album of the year definitely has to go to Cleo Sol. Which you low-key, you don't know sometimes I listen to most of the music when I'm driving. And Cleo Sol, she put out this album called Mother, came out this year. Really, really good. Actually, I listed her as one of the top albums last year. So she put out a great album last year and then came out with another project. So I definitely recommend if you're into like that neo soul R&B, I think that this is a good album. If you saw the episode I did with Dr. Tyree as well as Dr. Stephen Bradley last year, or actually the beginning of this year, we talked about Cleo Sol's album before this. It was dope. It's great. Everything that you want in R&B. Her voice is great. Great topics, mature topics for men and for women. I think everybody will like it. So that's my R&B album of the year. Now, for rap. Do you rap?
Do you rap?
Alfonso Ribeiro, man.
Do you rap?
Yo, so we went back and looked at Alfonso Ribeiro. Like, if you use YouTube and you look at, like, his 1984 videos, like, my man was, like, on straight up Like he was on his entrepreneurial like gang,
Yeah.
like for real.
For real.
Like man had a commercial because you remember back then,
All he
1984.
needed was a landing page.
Yeah, back then in 1984, he already did that commercial with Michael Jackson or the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He was he on Silver Spoons yet? What show
Yeah,
was he
I
on?
think Silver Spoons.
He was on Silver Spoon?
Silver Spoons. Mhm.
So by then-
He was the tap dance kid
Yeah, he was a tap
on
dance kid.
Broadway or wherever it was.
Yeah, and then at this point, my man had a commercial. I didn't even know this until Renee put me up on this, but he had this commercial where he's selling literally a video. It's a VHS tape on how to break dance. And with this video, didn't it come with a cardboard box?
Yes.
Or a cardboard so that you could do your windmill
Yes.
and all your moves and stuff? I'm
Yes.
like, yo, this
Do
guy's
you
not
rap?
And it had a booklet, and it had like step 1, step 2, step 3, like how to do the windmill and all the.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? This mug is crushed grooving for real?
Yeah.
Like he's breaking? Like, wait, what?
He's breaking to electric boogaloo up in here.
Yo, he had lead magnets, he had tripwires, he was upselling people on this back in 1984. You didn't know this,
He
did
really
you?
was. But wait, there's more.
The psychology, yo. But anyway, listen, my rap album of the year, definitely, this was a tough one, but it goes to J. Cole, Off Season.
You said what you said.
I said what I said. Donda was up there, but Donda, I'm like, I don't know if it's rap, I don't know if it's R&B, I don't know if it's gospel. I can't tell what it is. Seriously, like, he's like into gospel and stuff, so I just So for me, J. Cole, number 1. Number 2 is Donda versus Nas's King's Disease 2. So
The poet?
yeah, so for me, number 1 rap album of the year is J. Cole. So I definitely recommend that you go check that out. J. Cole never disappoints. He's just a very consistent, excellent in that trio of, J. Cole, Kendrick. I think those are the 2 top, and then right below that is Drake. Drake puts out better music, I think. Music that a lot of people like to listen to and dance to and have fun to.
Mm-hmm.
People, women really like that. Like people, like he just crosses so many different genres.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in terms of just pure lyricism, I think the 2 top are Kendrick and
Oh, yeah,
and
because
J.
I was
Cole.
going to say Drake.
He's
Okay.
good. He's good, but I think he's mastered the concept of being, and I don't think we've ever seen this. Literally, he is a rap superstar, right? I
Yeah,
think we've-
that's fine. I'm just talking about lyrically. I definitely see a difference. And I'm not even like so into rap that whatever, but I see differences.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. And y'all, that's the end of this episode. That's a
At the
wrap.
end of the year.
Yep, that's a wrap for 2021. So listen, I just want to say thank you very much for helping me over these definitely since October. So I think you noticed that I was in a little bit of a funk, had a little bit of some pod fade, and was stuck. And for y'all who don't know, Renee kind of jumped in and said, I think you need some help, and I'd like to jump in and help you run the business of podcasting so you can focus on creative, endeavors, but also at the same time come on as a co-host. And since then, as you can tell, starting from October, like the output has doubled. The energy level has gone to a different level. The amount of outreach that we are being able to do to people who want to come on the show, to sponsors, to, just in general, all the things that I've always wanted to do, we are starting to see the fruits of that. So I just wanted to say thank you, Dr. Renee. I know we joke around a lot, but seriously, I want to thank you for the last quarter of what you've been able to do. We've been doing some great things with the show, so thank you.
You're welcome. No, it's been really fun. It's been really fun. And having a window into what you do is definitely much different than actually being inside the house with the window. So it's a lot of work. The fact that you were doing all of this by yourself at one point is just absolutely bizarre and amazing at the same time, that this much work could be done by one person. So, the fact that you didn't give up before I came on is... It really is a testimony to how dedicated you are to this podcast. So, and I see you working.
Well, thank you very much.
I see
Thank
you
you very
working.
much. I hope the people out there see us working, because we're putting this out for y'all. This is a passion project, something that we really love to do, and I really Really appreciate everyone who listens to the show, everybody who rocks with us, all of our day ones, people who've jumped on in the middle, people who are jumping on right now. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, we really appreciate y'all listening. And listen, big things for 2022, right? We're leaving doubt behind. We're going to start living, and we're going to start doing the things that we need to do to make 2022 the best year ever. We'll catch y'all on the next episode. Here comes 2022.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Afi o afi. Peace.
Bonne année.